We're going to do magician today. Magician. Magician. It's called Beth. And again, we're doing it from the tarot of Foster Paul Case, I think it was. Anyway, the first thing is determined by survey and application of geometry, the building of the architect, geometry, adaptive materials, and many other practical applications of science are involved. Time when the whole art of building was called a mystery, and was under the direction of the priest of Thoth, Nebo, Hermes, Mercury. House building is part of Hermetic sciences, and survivals of the idea are preserved in the rituals of Freemasonry. Okay, Freemasonry. Excuse me. Mercury is the astrological attribution to Beth. It represents both the planet and the god. Understand by God as an aspect of universal consciousness, personified. The gods are Elohim, and of the Hebrew scriptures, where it is written of man, I said, ye are gods. So we all create. We all use what we have available in the elements to create our magic. To Mercury or Hermes, the Egyptians attribute their 42 books of science, embracing astronomy, astrology, arithmetic, geometry, medicine, grammar, logic, rhetoric, music, magic, and so on. Mercury or Hermes was the great magician and transformer, bearing the Caduceus, or wand of miracles, which survives to this day as the symbol of the healing art. He was nevertheless only the messenger of a divinity higher than himself, merely the transmitter, not the ordinator, the channel rather than the source. Astrologically, the Mercury vibration represents intellect, and in the color scale used throughout these lessons is yellow, assigned to spirit and to air. But a deeper tint than that is assigned to Uranus. The musical tone is the same, E natural. Beth is one of the 7 double letters, so called because they have in Hebrew both a hard and soft pronunciation. To every double letter is assigned a pair of opposites. To Beth and Mercury, because the letter and planet designated an aspect of consciousness which destroys as easy as it can create. The pair assigned in life is life and death. Intelligence of transparency is the mode of consciousness. Transparency means letting light shine through. Here we have the same idea of transmission that is suggested by Hermes as the transmitter of the messages of the higher divinity. Clearly, the mode of consciousness called transparent must be one which affords a free channel of communication, which permits the free passage downward and outward of the superconscious light which is above and within. Above is the direction assigned to Beth, because of the mode of consciousness corresponding to the letter is the superior term of human personal consciousness, directing the soul through the mysteries of the underworld, or night side of nature. So the superior phase of human personal consciousness, the initiator, and the conductor of human personality through the mazes of life. In the number 1 consciousness, the ego consciousness, the I am I, which is sometimes called objective mind. But because it is the first of all consciousness of the indwelling presence of the superconscious self, we prefer to term it self-consciousness. It is the onlooker, the director, the superior personal mode of universal conscious energy. It is your everyday waking consciousness. The magician is the correct title of the key 1, used in all versions of tarot belonging to occult fraternities, though it is sometimes debased as the juggler. Magic is simply the ancient name for science, particularly for the Hermetic science. The true magic presides over house building because it shows us how to erect actual houses so as to take advantage of occult properties of the earth currents of magnetic vibration. The higher phases of magic, moreover, have to do with the building of the house of personality, with the rearing of the temple of spirit. The house not made with hands, internal in the heavens. The magic of light presides over life and death because it has to do with laws and principles whereby self-conscious states of mind initiate and determine subconscious reactions. These reactions make for life or for death, according to the patterns which self-consciousness formulates and passes down to the conscious plane. Every true magician knows that all his practice has mathematical, geometrical basis. By the aid of occult geometry, he has traced nature to her concealed recesses. He uses geometric formulas and diagrams in this practical work. Finally, though he knows himself to be above nature, he understands that his operations succeed to the degree that his thought, word, and action transmit faithfully the powers of the plane above him. The greatest magicians know themselves to be no more than channels for the life power, clear window panes through which the light of wisdom within the house of personality streams forth into the objective world. The arbor of the roses over the magician's head corresponds to the letter named Beth, because an arbor is the simplest type of shelter. Red roses symbolize Venus, representing the desire nature. Here they suggest that the power with a magician draws from above is modified or qualified by desire. This is true of all self-consciousness activity. Every moment of our waking consciousness is motivated and conditioned by some type of desire. And then there's a horizontal figure 8 over the magician's head is the ancient occult number ascribed to Hermes. This horizontal 8 is also a symbol of the Holy Spirit and infinity. It means on the horizontal plane that is dominion in material affairs, because one of the oldest symbols of matter is the horizontal line. In contrast, ignorance is limited by knowledge, for this crown encircles the magic's brow. It passes around his forehead and is located of the brain area particularly active in the self-conscious mentation. mentation. Has a lifted hand suggesting power drawn from above, and then the wand it holds aloft is a double-ended phallic symbol. The phallic because the nerve forces used to maintain the reproductive functions may be purified and sublimated by certain magical procedures. The purification is suggested by the whiteness of the wand. Its 2 points, exactly alike in form, remind us of the hermic atom, that is which above as that is which below, and that which is above is that which is below, for the performance of the miracles of the one thing. They also indicate subtle that the lower manifestations of the force here symbolized are not destroyed or apathy in the process of purification and sublimation. Finally, the 2 points refer to the duality of all magical operations, which are 2 great classes, those leading to the higher expressions of life and those resulting in death, which means just eliminating the things that you don't need, and it'll just compost the rest of the things that you do in your magic time of desire. The magician's down-pointing left hand symbolizes direction of power to the plane below. It makes a gesture of concentration. The pointing finger is that attributed to the planet Jupiter. From this finger, palmists judge a degree of client's power of leadership and direction. It is executive and the determinative finger. The gesture plainly conveys the notion that concentration is the secret of the direction and control of forces below the plane of self-conscious awareness, which are the elements that we use, the fire, earth, air, and water. Fire, earth, air, and water, yeah. And ether, which is basically the occult thought. Of the double gesture made by the magician's hands, the dual sign is known in a very high grade of the instituted mysteries. It shows the descent of grace, virtue, and light, drawn from things above and derived of things below. The suggestion throughout is therefore the possession and communication of the power and the gifts of the Spirit. The magician's inner robe, which is white, has the same significance as the garment of the fool. The serpent girdle signifies wisdom and eternity biting the tail. The serpent biting the tail. Here it indicates more especially the eternity of attainment in the spirit. The serpent is colored blue-green because it's also a symbol of the serpent force, which is utilized in all magical practices. This force is related to the sign Scorpio, which in color scale is associated also with the blue-green. The magician's red outer garment represents desires, passion, and activity. Its color is that of the planet Mars, which astrology associates with action and initiative. The red robe has no binding girdle. It may be slipped on or off, the magician's pleasure. This means the self-consciousness may enter into action or abstain from it, according to the circumstances. Thus, this bit of symbolism is connected with the power of choice or selection characteristic of self-consciousness. The table before the magician represents the field of attention in modern psychology. The word table has also affinities in language with the word measurement, inasmuch as to classify and arrange is to tabulate. Note that the corners of the tables had to be squared, that the conical legs have capitals like Ionic columns, require the use of compass, and by their capitals suggest the orders of the architecture. On the table in front of the magician are the implements of the four suits, signifying the elements of natural life, which lie like counters before the ept, and he epts them as he wills. The elements of natural life are referred to fire, which is the wands, water, which is the cup, air is the swords, and earth the coin or pentacle. They symbolize also the four words and correspond to the letters of IHVH. The magician's problem is to arrange them in proper order. In ceremonial magic, these implements are the staff, the cup of libations and divination, the magic sword, and the pentacle or talisman. On the pentacle are written or engraved words, numbers, geometrical figures, and signals. They are determined by the nature of the magical operation to be affected by the powers they represent. In this instance, the signal on the pentacle is the PENTALPHA, the five-pointed star or pentagram of the sign of this sign. Hello. The pentagram expresses the mind's dominion over the elements, and it is by this sign we bind the demons of the air, the spirits of fire, the spectres of water, and the ghosts of earth. It is the star of the magic, the burning star of the Gosnose school, the sign of intellectual omnipotence, and AUTOCRACY, autocracy. It is the symbol of the Word made flesh. The sign is the pentagram, is called also the sign of the microcosm. Its complete comprehension is the key of the two worlds. It is absolute natural philosophy and natural science. Magic is really amazing. From the foregoing quotation, you may come to understand the nature of the work to which the magician in the tarot is directing his powers. Be careful to not take the first sentence of the quotation too literally. There is a meaning behind the surface meaning. Find it yourself. Okay. In the practical everyday life, the implements of the magician are the 4 life essentials: light, wand, water cup, air sword, and food pentacle. The combination of these life essentials in proper order and proportions is the task of every practical occultist. An occult means science, hidden knowledge, just something that you just might not know. So people need to be unfeared about the word occult or the occultist. Finally, the 4 implements corresponding to the 4 ancient esoteric ADMONITIONS, which sum up the whole practical application of occult law. These are 1, to will, which is the wand; 2, to know, which is the cup; 3, to dare, which is the sword; and 4, to be silent, which is the pentacle. The last, in some respects, is the most important. Occult means hidden, and one of the first duties of a practical occultist is the practice of silence. The magician's garden is the antithesis to the barren heights wherein where stands the fool. The garden is fertile and productive. It is a symbol of the subconscious plane of mental activity. From this teeming soil come forth the productions which give shape and form to the ideas of the magician. He is also shown as the gardener, like Adam, of whom the old legend says he was put to the Garden of Eden to grow roses, for Venus, for love. Like Adam, self-consciousness is the namer of objects. Like Adam, personal self-consciousness is formed by the power of the Lord, who is that which was, is, and shall be. Like Adam, the personal self-consciousness is formed of the dust of the ground. Because self-consciousness is an aggregate of mirage of tiny self-impressions, dust, originating in that cosmic operation of the life power which makes the environment of personality, and is the true ground or basis for all self-conscious experience. Beneath are roses and the lilies, changed into garden flowers to show the culture of aspiration. Red rose typifies Venus and the desire nature. White lilies represent abstract thought untinged by desire. The roses are developed from the 5-petaled wild rose, and thus they symbolize the number 5, for which has its geometric correspondence to the pentagram. As symbols of desire, they represent that phase of subconscious response to self-conscious direction, which has to do with art, invention, and the adaptation of principles of abstract truth to practical ends. Because all desires are related to sensation, there are 5 roses corresponding to the conventional 5 senses. Lilies have 6 petals, and in a cross-section their flowers show the hexagram, or the 6 pointed stars, which is the symbol of the microcosm. Pure science concerns itself with the study of powers of the microcosm and with the laws of those powers. Because these laws and forces operate in the 4 worlds or plane mentioned in this chapter, the number of lilies shown in the picture is 4. So 4 times 6 is 21. Thus all meaning of the letter Beth, the number 1, and the symbols of the magician refer to powers of the self-conscious phase of personal mental activities. These powers are directed primarily to the control forces and things below the self-conscious level. The energy utilized comes from above, from super-consciousnesses. It is fixed and modified by acts of attention. Concentration is the great secret of the magical art. True concentration is perfect transparency, in which personality becomes a free, obstructed channel for the passage downward and outward of the superconsciousness radiant energy. Herein the secret of all true volition. All magic is in the will. So what we think and what we believe and what we desire, we will will to us. So if we're damning and shouldn't and canting and all those other things, then we're doing something very wrong. Here is a picture of the key. Okay. And basically, I just love the tarot. This is just so cool. I mean, everything is as it should be if we let it happen. Okay, let's see what this says. I am the center of expression for the primal will to good, which eternity creates and sustains the universe. So it's all good. Yep. For what it is we know, it is not always the I am, but we do will to us those things that we think we desire, that we need, that we want. And then a lot of times it's just par for the course, because we never remember what we have done and put out there by our wills. So we have to really consciously understand who it is that we are and what we're trying to do here on this life path. Now, as for the 0 and the Fool, that means new opportunities are coming at you. So if the Magician is next and it's the will of the consciousness, then we need to discern and put in silence and within our own selves to figure out what the true reason of why we want that, why it is here to be. So, as I am basically almost out of breath, and that is it for the Magician, which we all are, by the great omnipresence. May the will of your desires be for the all and not just your personal selves. Okay? Peace, joy, love, hugs and bubbles. Ciao.